Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to learn how to make a corset with a keyhole neckline and a turtleneck as well. So for you to achieve this, you need about 1.5 yard of fabric. That is just for the bustier part. So before we do that, we'll first of all do our pattern drafting, because we cannot actually get this without drafting a pattern. So this video will be kind of long, so that I will explain very well on how I achieved this. So I did it just for illustration. I did not actually make this for anybody. So pardon some parts because I did not add boning and interface to it, but please remember to add boning and interface to yours. So first of all, I'll measure my shoulder. My shoulder is 15 divided by 2. That is 7.5 plus half an inch. That is 8. So the bust point is 11. Then 2 inches above your bust point is your chest line. So I marked 9 inches as my chest line. The under bust 14, the half length 17, and 2 inches for seam allowance. Then I'll go ahead and rule these lines. Then after doing that, I'll curve my armhole. So the next thing is to measure my neckline. Since I'm doing a turtleneck, I made the front neckline 3 by 3, 3 inches for the wideness and 3 inches for the depth. Then from there I slanted my shoulder, then 3 inches for the depth. I marked 3 inches, and I'll go ahead and connect my neckline. If you are doing it for a tiny person, a slim person, sorry, 2.5 inches is okay for the width. So I'll label the lines. As you can see, chest line, bust point, under bust, half length, and allowance. So after doing that, I will go ahead and mark my dart. The nipple to nipple for this person is 8.5. So 8.5 divided by 2 is 4.25. So I'll mark 4.25 downwards, and I'll extend it to the chest line as well. 8.5 divided by 2 is 4.25. So at the chest line, I will go up by 1 inch. Like, I'll extend the chest line by 1 inch. Then I'll extend this dart line to meet that 1.1 inch line. If you want, you can extend it by 1.5, depending on how covered you want your bust to be. Then at the under bust, I'll subtract 1.5 inch on each side of the dart. Then I'll connect it down. If you have been following me, this is normally how I cut my corset pattern, but I want to explain small here. So at the area where you extended your chest line, you will subtract 1 inch on each side. You subtract 1 inch on each side of the dart line around the chest line. Then I'll go ahead and curve my breast cup. From the point where you marked 1.5 inch, you connect to your bust point. Then from your bust point, you will connect to the point where you subtracted 1 inch around the chest line. So after doing that, using your free hand, you go ahead and make a sweetheart neckline. Like, first of all, you connect the 2 darts using your free hand. Then you smoothen it into the armhole. Then from that area as well, you will curve your sweetheart neckline. But before that, you will go in by 0.5 inch on the chest line and on the bust point. You can see what I'm doing right now. You come in by half inch at the chest line and at the bust point. Then you connect your sweetheart's neckline to meet that area. If you want the sweetheart to go deeper, you can do it as well. Then I'll connect the 2 half inch I marked. Then from the bust point, I will curve to the under bust. You can see I connected the 0.5 inch I marked before. I connected the 2 of them with a straight line. Then I curved from my bust point to the under bust. Then the difference between my bust point and my under bust is 3.5. Then I'll add extra 1 inch to it, that is 4.5, and that is what I will use to extend my side bra cup, my side cup. From my bust point to my under bust is 3.5. Then I added extra 1 inch, that is 4.5. That was what I used to extend this area that I am marking right now. And then I connected it to the armhole area. So our cup is ready, and I'll go ahead and label my yoke. Then after doing that, I will mark my keyhole. The keyhole or the boat neckline, I want it to be 11 inches wide. So 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. Then at the neckline, I came in by 1.5. You can see what I did there. I came in by 1.5. Then I will connect the 1.5 to the 5.5 inches that I marked before. You know that the neckline has a triangular shape, so I want I want the wideness to be 11 inches. You can make yours 10 or 9 or 8 depending, but I want mine to be 11 inches wide. So I'll go ahead and cut out the keyhole neckline. This is the shape of the keyhole if you check the picture very well. So I'll cut it out. You can see it is taking shape now. Then I'll go ahead and cut out the remaining parts of the neckline. Then after doing that, I'll cut my yoke and my armhole. So for this keyhole, if you want yours to be 8, that means you will measure 4, because the pattern paper, you assume that it is on fold. If you want it to be 10, you measure 5. So I will shade this that area, because I will cut out this that area. I don't need it. So after that, I'll take my bust measurement. The bust is 42 divided by 4, 10.5, plus 2 inches seam allowance, 12.5. So I'll go ahead and measure and mark 12.5 at my bust point, at my bust area. Then the waist is 30 divided by 4, that is 7.5. Then you add back the 1.5 inch you subtracted on each side of the dart, that is 10.5, plus 2 inches for the normal seam allowance, that is 12.5. Then you mark your 12.5 and then connect the waist to the bust. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and cut out the unwanted parts of the pattern paper. Then I'll cut my remaining yoke. You can see this is the only remaining part of the yoke after removing the keyhole neckline. Then I'll cut it out and keep aside. And I'll go ahead and cut out this dart area. You can see the place that I shaded. I don't need that. I'll go ahead and cut out the dart area. So I'll cut out the cup, I'll cut out the cups, and after doing that, this is all I'll do for the front part. Then for the cup area, I want to do a 3-piece cup. You know, this cup is just 2 pieces, this left and the right cup, but I want it to have 3 pieces. The one that normally has the up, 1 piece at the up and 2 pieces at the lower part. So I'll divide this bra cup at the bust line. You can see I'm cutting through the bust point line. So after doing that, I will close the dart for the upper parts. You can see what I did. I divided this cup area. I cut through my bust point line. Then I'll close the dart for this upper part. Then you introduce a pattern paper, then place these two on them, then close the dart and trace out the shape of the paper after closing the dart. So after closing the dart, this is the shape it will give you. I don't know if you understand. I'll explain this thing better in my corset class tomorrow. Then I'll go ahead and cut out. So I'll go ahead and label it 1, 2, 3. So right now we have 3 pieces for our back up. This is what it will look like after closing the upper darts. I'll explain it very well in my corset class. Please do make sure you register. So this is all for the back up right now, and if I bring back the other sides of the pattern, this is what we will have. So you can see the yoke. So after this we will draft the back pattern. So we will draft a normal bodice for the back. I will not do a princess dart or all of that. I will do a normal bodice for the back. Then I have added my darts, my allowance. I'll go ahead and label my chest line and my half length. I only need my chest line and my half length for this. My chest line is 9 inches. Then this is my half length. And I have marked my normal dart. Just do your normal bodies for the back. Then at the neckline, remember the wideness of our neck is 3 inches on fold. Then from the zipper allowance, I will mark 3 inches. The line there is my zipper allowance. Then I will connect my shoulder slants. Then the depth of the back part will be 1.5. If you want, you can make it 2, but I want it to be, oh, I made it 2. Sorry, I was supposed to make this 1.5, but if I'm cutting yours, please make the back depth to be 1.5. So I'll connect the depth to the width, and that is the neckline for the back. It is supposed to be 1.5. Please, sorry, I made a mistake there. Then from that neckline area, you come down by 1 inch. You can see where I marked my neckline. Then come down by 1 inch from there. Then at the chest line, I want the back part to have a keyhole neckline as well. I will mark 5 inches. I want the wideness of the keyhole to be 10. So I marked 5 inches at the chest line, and I'll go ahead and connect from that area where I came down by 1 inch to the area where I marked 5 inches. So I'll cut out my zipper allowance and then stop at the chest line. The zipper allowance will stop at the chest line. The other parts will not have a zipper. So I will cut out the keyhole neckline for the back and then cut out the main neckline. So this is what we have left. I'll cut the shoulder slant and then I'll cut out the yoke for the back. That is from the chest line. I'll cut out the yoke for the back. So I'll label the yoke, and now we have the yoke and the down part. So I have cut everything out. I am sewing this with a lace. So I have cut my lace and I have joined it to the doll face, and then I have my lining as well. Please ignore my choice of colors. I'm actually using this for an illustration. So here are the pieces of the back up. So each of them will have 3 pieces. You can see that I labeled all of them. We have the 1, the 2, and the 3. So I will arrange all of them using the pattern. Please label your pattern paper. It will guide you so that you know the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3. So I'll arrange all of them. So after arranging them, this is what we have. So you can see that each of them has 3 pieces. Use your pattern paper, it will guide you. So here is the front. This is the side of the front. I have cut the lace, the doll face, and the lining. I've added the doll face to the lace, so you can see the center. Please, when you are cutting, remember to add 1/2 inch round all your pattern paper. Please remember. So this is the yoke. I have cut out the yoke. You can see it is 2. It doesn't have a fold at the center. It is just 2. And then remember the distance between the 2 neckline is 3 inches. Please remember. Then this is the back part, I've cut the lace and the lining. Then I've also cut out the yoke. So I'll start by joining the bra cup pieces. Please remember to add 1/2 inch allowance round all the pattern paper. Remember. So I've joined the 2 and the 3. Then after joining that, I will join the number 1 at the upper part. I've joined you. First of all, you join the 2 pieces, the down one, and then join the upper one. So I am done joining that, and this is what it looks like. You can see that the shape of the cup is out already. You can see that the shape is out already. This is what it looks like. So I'll repeat this on the other side and on my lining. So I'll go ahead and join the lower parts first. Replace 2 of them and close the darts. Then after that, you join the upper one. I'll explain very well in my corset class, guys. So I'm trying to save time. This video is actually long. So I'll go ahead and join the upper parts. And this is what we have after joining. So if you notice that the bust point is a kind of pointy, you can go ahead and like reshape it a bit so that it will not look pointy. So here are the 2 bra cups. Then I'll go ahead and join the lining for the bra cup as well. So if you have excess, go ahead and trim off the excess. Just small. Then the 2 of them are ready. Then over to the main bodies for the front. You can see that the center front will have a joining. So I'll go ahead and join the center front. I'll place 2 of them. Remember, I added 1/2 inch seam allowance around the center front for joining. I will join the 2 pieces for the center front. Then I will join the side. I'm joining for the right side, and after I will join the left side. So after joining, please open up all this allowance and iron them very well so that they will be flat. So this is what you will have after joining the pieces. So you go ahead and open all the allowance and iron. So this is for the lining. I'll repeat everything I did to the main fabric on the lining. So the lining is ready. I'll go ahead and iron it as well. So this is the yoke. You can see the material that I used to cut out the yoke, and I used that material for the lining as well. So each part of the yoke has 2 pieces. I'll go ahead and close only the keyhole neckline, as in the triangular part. That is the only area that I will close. I will not close the normal round neck because this will have a turtleneck, so you don't need to close it. Just close the normal keyhole. You can see that keyhole area. Then you will turn and then hold the rest of the yoke area with a stitch. Close only the keyhole area. The keyhole is that triangular part of that neckline. So after doing that, I'll turn it and then use a stitch to hold the remaining part of the yoke. So use the fabric as the lining, please. So this is what they look like. I'll go ahead and iron them very well. So this is the back keyhole, the back yoke. So you close only the keyhole area, the place that I carved out a circle-like shape, the keyhole area, or the boat neckline. I don't know anyone you call it. So just go ahead and close only that round area. You will not close the main neckline. You will not close the main neckline at all, because you attach your turtleneck to it. So after doing that, you go ahead and turn and then hold the rest of the yoke with a stitch. So that is it for the yoke part of the back. So if I place the two of them together, this is what they will look like. I'll close the remaining parts. So here is the back part. First of all, you close the yoke of the back before closing the back part. So first of all, I'll add my dart to my back. Remember that it has a normal dart, and I notched my dart area. I'll do that to the main fabric, and I'll also do that to the lining. So you add your dart before adding your yoke. So I'll go ahead and add my darts to my lining. So that is it. I'll go ahead and iron the yoke first before adding. So back to the bra cup, I will use a bra cup for this. I have ironed everything. I have ironed my seam allowance, so I will use my bra cup. So remember this, the size of the bust is 38, but is 42, but I use 38. So I'll go ahead and shape the upper part of this bra cup. You can see the way I folded it, and then I will shape just half an inch, like you add something that looks like a dart at the upper part of the bra cup. The reason why I did this is to make the bra cup deeper. I use size 38 for this. I don't need size 42. It will be bigger than my cup. So I shaped it, and you can see it's made it deeper, and the shape of the bust will be more defined. So you go ahead and pin it to your fabric. I'll explain this bra cup manipulation in my corset class as well, so you guys should just pardon. I'm trying to accommodate everything within a short period of time. So I'll go ahead and pin the bra cup to the fabric. You can use the needle and thread to tack it down, but I actually pinned it for now. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and place the two. So I have checked and all of them are okay. I'll trim off the excess and then join to the area where I made a space for the bra cup. So you go ahead and flip and make sure that the dart line of the bra cup and the dart line of the bodice is aligning. Then you go ahead and join. Make sure that the dart line is aligned. It will help you to have a neat finishing. Then from that dart line, I'll go ahead and sew the other side. First of all, join one side, and then from the center you will join the other side. So after joining one bracket, you can see what it looks like. I'll go ahead and join the remaining bracket. So this is what I have. So after joining, feel free to trim the neckline, like just give it a defined sweetheart shape. So this is what it looks like, and if I turn the back part, you can also see what it looks like. So if you want to have a defined bra cup, shape the upper part of the bra cup, shape it by like 1/2 inch, just add a dart to it. So I'll go ahead and add my lining, the lining for the bra cup, to the main body. So after that, I'll go ahead and trim the neckline as well. So I am done joining the bra cup for the main fabric and for the lining. So this is time for the yoke. I have ironed the yoke, so I'll go ahead and attach the yoke. So if you're attaching the yoke, remember the distance. Like I told you guys, I want the distance between the two to be 11 inches. So if you are placing your yoke, please remember to measure that distance until you have gotten the 11 inches you wanted. Then you will place your yoke around there, and you can see the distance between the two neckline is 3 inches. When I was cutting the pattern, remember that I came in by 1.5 at the neckline. So if you are joining your yoke, please maintain the distance between the two yoke at the neckline. That is 3 inches. Please maintain that distance. If you check the picture of the style that we are making, you will see that there is a gap between the two yoke. Then the turtleneck held them together. Then I'll turn my yoke this way and then join, and after doing that, I will turn it with my lining. So I'll go ahead and do that. Then for the back part, I'll go ahead and place my yoke as well. My yoke started at around the dart area, so I'll go ahead and place the yoke. It will start from the dart line. That is for the back part. I'll place the two of them. You can see the keyhole shape for the back is out. Then I'll flip them, pin them down, and then go ahead and join. And after joining, I will turn them with my lining. So I'll go ahead and place my lining. So for the turtleneck, the round neck of this lady is 16 inches. Her round neck is 16 inches. So this is the pattern paper that we use to cut the turtleneck. I want to cut a very fitted turtleneck. So I'll fold my pattern this way. Then I want the length, the wideness of the turtleneck to be 2.5 inch. I want it to be 2.5 inch. If you want, you can make yours 3 inches, but looking at the picture, you can see that the neckline, the turtleneck is wide, so I want it to be 2.5. But when cutting, I will mark 3 inches. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. And remember, this pattern paper is on fold, so I'll go ahead and mark 8 inches. Then I will go ahead and connect the lines. The wideness is 2.5, remember, but I added 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then the length, the round neck measurement is 16. divided by 2, that is 8. Then I marked 8. So I'll go ahead and connect these lines. So if you are sewing this type of turtleneck, do not just join a straight line like this. So the folded part is the center. So from that center, I will come in by half an inch. From the center, I will come in by half an inch. Then from that place where I marked half an inch, I will connect it back to the center part of the down part. The place that I came in by half an inch is the upper part. Then I'll mark a triangular line to meet the center of the lower part. Then at the down part, I will go up by half an inch. Then I will curve like this. So this is what it will look like. At the upper part, come in by half an inch, and at the area where you will join the turtleneck to the neckline, you will go up by half an inch and then curve. So I'll go ahead and cut out that part. The reason why I want to do this is that I want the turtleneck to be very fitted around her neckline. So I'll go ahead and cut off these areas that I manipulated. And if you open it up, you have 2 pieces right now. So you go ahead and close that you close the area where you marked half an inch. And if you close it, you can see that this turtleneck has a curved shape now. So after closing that area where you subtracted half an inch, you introduce a new pattern paper. Then place the pattern paper, the 2 pattern papers on it. Then close that area. Remember to close the area where you subtracted half an inch. Then you go ahead and cut the new shape. So you can see that the upper part of the turtleneck is a kind of deep. So if I fold it, this is what I will have. You can see that the turtleneck is no longer straight. It is a kind of deep. So I will go ahead and cut this out on my fabric. So if you are cutting this on your fabric, you will have 2 pieces, one for the main fabric and the other one will serve as the lining. Please remember to notch the center part of this on your fabric when cutting. So this is the fabric. I'll go ahead and place, and then I will add half an inch round. I'll still trim down some parts. Remember I said that the wideness is 2.5. When I was cutting, I made it 3 inches so notch the center, and then after doing that, I have turned the front and the back with their lining. I'll go ahead and join. So I'm done joining. I'll trim my half length and my armhole. So I'll go ahead and trim my armhole. So this is what the corset looks like, and you can see the neckline is coming out already. So I turned the upper parts of the neckline and the side and left the lower part open. So if you measure the lower part, it is 16, but if you measure the upper part, it is 14. You can see the difference, right? So it will help you to lap around your neck. So I'll go ahead and fix this turtleneck. I'll take you guys to my sewing machine so that you guys can see how I fixed it. So before I do that, remember that the distance between the 2 yoke, you can see the distance around the neckline is 3 inches, and I subtracted 1.5 on fold when I was cutting the pattern paper. So you go ahead and measure from the center. You can see that I notched the center of that of the turtleneck. So from the center I will measure 1.5 on the right and 1.5 on the left, and then notch. So this will help to guide me when I'm joining the yoke. The right yoke will start at the area where I notched. Let me repeat this so you guys can understand. So the lower part is 16, right? 16 is a round neck and the upper part is 14. I said that I did this so that it will lap. Then if you are joining the yoke, remember that there is a distance between the two yokes, right? So you go ahead and subtract that distance. So you can see I notched the center of the yoke. I notched it, right? So I'll open it up. From the center of the yoke, I will mark 1.5 on the right. I'll notch it, and 1.5 on the left. So these areas that I notched now are the areas where each of these yokes will start from. So if I am joining, this yoke will start from this area that I notched, then the other one will start from the other area that I notched, and that will leave you with that space or the distance between the two yokes. So first of all, I'll start from the right yoke, then I will join to the back, then I'll place the other yoke at the other area where I notched, and then I will join from there. Then I'll join to the back, so after doing that I'll flip to the front. Remember that I added a hard stay on one side of the turtleneck, so I'll go ahead and cover it from the front. Let me shift my camera so that you guys can see well. So I'll fold. If I'm joining, I will be folding from the front. Then you can see the space between the two of them. I will close that space and sew. Then I'll join to the end. And that is it, guys, for this tutorial. So you go ahead and join the sleeve of your choice and then the down part of your choice. So after doing that, this is the final look. If the yoke is too far from each other, or if they don't fit, feel free to do some adjustment, and please remember to adjust. Your client should fit this before adding your sleeve or any other thing. So thank you guys for watching, and see you in class in my next video. Bye.